Hey folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new and you see in pronouns, I haven't filmed in this spot for a while. I think it's been a few weeks since I filmed that on this spot. Sorry, I'm sort of brain fried. Yeah, a few weeks since I filmed on this couch, so that's interesting. Little testosterone update. I am almost 5 months on testosterone. That's absolutely unreal to me, and my voice is progressively deepening, my stash is coming out more nicely, my leg hair is getting darker, and leg hair started growing on my thighs. It wasn't there before. I started testosterone, so starting more leg hair starting to grow out, and the existing leg hair is starting to like darken more. Great, a lot of changes. And that's not a sarcastic great. It is actually great that all of these changes are happening. Today I wanted to talk about, I guess, finding meaning in life, like finding and having meaning in life and purpose, and and touching on like finding out what you want to do in life or what you want to do with your life. I want to start by giving a little bit of context. So when I was younger, I purely just focused on academics and getting good grades. Not so much in primary school, but mostly towards the end of high school. Actually, in high school in general, focusing on getting good grades so that I can get into a good degree at university, and then which will then lead me to a good job. That's the chain I was told, the link, and just focus on academics because at the time I believed that getting good grades was everything, and that if I messed up in school and I didn't get high enough grades to get into university, then my entire life would be screwed, and I would have nothing left. That was what I believed. I don't know if I've told this part of my experience on YouTube before, but when I was in high school, I developed a very acute but serious medical condition, and basically it was an autoimmune disease where my there were giant wounds on my legs because my immune system went whack and it started attacking my own cells, and then it led to giant purple wounds on my legs, and then I went to a hospital a lot. I was inpatient once with a lot of symptoms, and I was studying for my end of year exam while I was inpatient in a hospital. I'm not joking. Like I literally did this. That is how much the idea of academics and it is everything in your life, and if you mess up, you are doomed, got to me. Studying while I was in hospital, um, neglecting my health for academics. Um, and to be honest, academics, I just it didn't high school academics didn't really add that much meaning to my life. It was just a path I had to go through, but not really meaningful in terms of the studying and the content itself. It's more the experiences surrounding school, such as persevering through difficult times and stuff, that gave me meaning. But as for the schooling itself, it's not really meaningful to me. It wasn't until I started university that I felt like I had more freedom to explore different things in life and not purely focus on academics. So it wasn't I started doing a lot more video editing, doing a lot more photography. I tried making a YouTube in 2016 when I was in first year uni. That failed because I got too anxious and I deleted my video on the channel the next day. Um, Early years of university were a bit slow. It wasn't until 2018 that actually the end of 2017 that I started to pursue interest outside of studying more seriously. So it was at the end of 2017 that I started drafting my first short film. But that film project, I dropped it completely because I was too ambitious, and my expectations were unrealistic given my resources and my knowledge of film at the time. But I did realize that making films um is it's like a meaningful activity for me. And when I started my YouTube channel in mid 2018, that's when I was in third year university. That gave me significant amounts it added significant amount of meaning to my life. When I started this channel, it was let's talk about mental health, and this was way before I came out as trans and started transitioning. I started a series called Let's Talk About Mental Health because I really wanted to break the stigma surrounding mental health, and give people hope that recovery is possible and you're not defined by these labels and all of that stuff. um so doing work in mental health, whether it's paid work, volunteering, or just personal projects, gives me significant meaning. It's like part of my identity. It's sort of my calling as well. And when I started learning more about the LGBTIQ plus stuff and my own identity, that was also a calling for me. And I continue to do work in mental health and the LGBTIQ plus spaces. Um, I'm just gonna talk about a few other things that are very meaningful for me and give me meaning in life and give me very much long-term fulfillment. So it's not just like instant short-term gratification. It's like this this happiness for 5-10 minutes or an hour or so and it dies down. Like this long-term fulfillment usually lasts for days or for weeks. So breaking barriers and like overcoming challenges that I thought I couldn't overcome, or throwing myself at something hard and successfully achieving the end goal, even though I wasn't 100% confident, or I really didn't have I really didn't have much of an idea of what I was doing, such as making films. I threw myself into the deep end, overcame challenges along the way, sort of breaking walls as I went along, and that doing this in general, just throwing myself out there, doing things I never done before, challenging myself, and overcoming and achieving things I never thought I could do, and gives me, I feel very proud of that, because anyone going out of their comfort zone is not necessarily very easy. Um, Especially if you're just throwing yourself into hard things that you've never done before. But yeah, it really taught me that I am capable of much more than I think I am, and that if I really put my mind to something, and if I keep trying, it doesn't matter if I fail the first time, I try again a different way, I can achieve what I set my mind to. Another thing that gives me a lot of meaning and really it's like a core part of my identity is vulnerability and being vulnerable and being open with my story and experiences, and just having very honest conversations with people, deep talk with people, where I lower all my walls and it's like, this is who I am. You're seeing me for who I am, and I have nothing to hide. Being 100% honest with people and being vulnerable in hopes of helping other humans out there who may be struggling or experiencing difficult things, and just trying to make especially the mental health and LGBTQ plus spaces as safe, inclusive as possible, and break challenging stigma, um, breaking down misconceptions, changing, I guess, helping, shedding light on, hey, this is not like the stigma and stereotypes. Like, hey, this is not accurate representation of what people actually experience. So this is the reality of living with mental health challenges, dealing with mental health concerns, being part of the LGBTQ plus community, having to fight for our rights, all of that stuff. Um, I lost my train of thought. Somewhere in that section would be being vulnerable in order to help the world be a safer, less judgmental, more honest, and I guess a more wholesome world, being vulnerable to better the world and myself as a person. Another thing that adds meaning and a lot of purpose to my life is continuing to strengthen existing friendships by just taking up another level. Like, I guess with anything, there has to be a foundation first, some sort of stable ground in order to build something. Because if the ground's at the foundation is unstable, trying to build anything on top of it, it'll just crumble and collapse because the ground is unstable. I guess as months and years go on, friendships become stronger because we keep working at it. We keep trying new things to strengthen the friendship. Like one thing I'm doing with Karina, who's one of my best friends, is weekly check-in calls, whether it be phone calls or video calls. We've never done this in the past 6 years that we've known each other. Like having consistent calls every week. This is something we've been doing, and we're gonna be in our third week at the end of this week. So this is something we're gonna keep going, and it really does help sustain the strong existing bond we have, and save my other friends as well, giving them a call, checking in on them, um, keeping them updated about my life. Another thing with friends is that I like to create custom gifts for friends, especially when it's on their birthday, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for their birthday. Um, so things I've done in the past for my close friends are make a poster of us, and so one of my friends turned 26 last year, and I made a poster with 26 photos of us for her 26th birthday. I made a giant poster thing with all our photos and memories. And another thing I've done for friends is write them a song, produce music for it, and like produce an actual song with like lyrics, vocals, and music. I'm not like pro at it, but I made birthday raps for both two of my friends last year. Um yeah, those are just examples of things. Like just doing this gives me so much meaning and fulfillment. Just creating gifts for friends that are unique to the person and our friendship gives me significant meaning. I'm not gonna go into any more examples, otherwise this video is gonna be like 40 minutes long. So I guess the next question is like, how did I find activities and people and things in life that gave me meaning? Like, how do I know? How did I know that this thing is meaningful? What indicators are there that it's meaningful to me? The first thing is that these activities and the people I have in my inner circle, they, I guess, in a way, all align with my values and who I am as a person and how I live my life. For example, I don't have friends who are, I don't have friends in my inner circle or anyone very close to me who are like superficial and, like superficial as in very material orientated, and just care about money, getting rich, um having a lot of nice material things. You know, I don't have people in my life who my close friends, they don't treat people like garbage, they don't take advantage of people. um so like them, my close friends as people really align with who I am as a person, and it works because we're very similar in that way. And I guess the way they live their life and the way they operate as human beings is very similar to me. They're very sensitive, and they care a lot about their friends, and they walk their talk, as in they don't just say something, but then whenever I need something, don't follow up with it. Like me and the closest friends I have, we all walk our talk, and that's very important to me. As for activities and things itself, I know that I know it's meaningful to me because I get long term fulfillment from it. It's not like something I do and it's just like a short term high that quickly dies down. It gives me long term fulfillment. I feel happy and pride in doing this thing. Um, Also, I know if something doesn't give me meaning when there is a psychological conflict with it. It doesn't align with who I am as a person, and I have a fight with myself over it. For example, if someone told me to go get drunk and hook up with people, or just go to the club and hook up with random people I don't know, um, I would never bring myself to do that because firstly, it goes against the values I have as a person, and to me, it would be disrespect to myself, physically, mentally, spiritually, and I would just feel this physical and psychological tension inside of me, saying, "This isn't you, Lev. Don't do something like this. It has no meaning to your life. It is risky and it is not worth it." Um, for example, another indicator for me personally that this is something you're meant to do in life, Lev, and this is your calling, um, is if I think about it and then years down the line I still feel the exact same way, then I know that this is the right path for me to take and pursue, because even though I don't know why it will be meaningful to me, um, I know that it's something I'm very gravitated towards and I will do. And that example is joining the military. Like a few years ago, I had the thought of joining the military, and it was something I wanted to do, but then the feeling never left to this day that I still want to join the military. Actually, as the years go on, the gravitation towards joining the military, it just strengthens over time. Same with studying psychology and working in mental health. Ever since I started doing psychology in year 11, I knew that it clicked with me right away. I'm like, this is the field that I want to be working in and studying in and be a student of psychology. And it's been over 5 years, and my thoughts and feelings about psychology have not changed. I still love it as much as I did the first time I started learning about it, and I'm loving it more now that I'm actually working in mental health and have the opportunity to apply my knowledge in a practical way, while in the process of that creating difference in positive difference and meaning, creating meaningful change and positive differences in people's lives. That is incredibly rewarding. Like, if something inside of you, whether it's like your body or your mind or your soul telling you this is your calling, this is what you're meant to be doing in life, like not listening to anyone else, just listening to your intuition and listening to yourself about what you need and what you want to do in life. Like, try to read your signals, like your mind signal and your body signals, and use that as a guiding point towards which path you take, or which um activity you decide to try. And it's okay if you take that path and you later realize this isn't the right path for me. Like, it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a failure or anything. I feel like in general there's this pressure to know the right path for you and stick with that path for the rest of your life, even though it's something you that's not for you. Um, for example, this isn't like a pathway, career pathway, or anything, but earlier this year, I went to like a social function at a bar, and I had a feeling that I wouldn't like that type of environment based on, I guess, my personality and what I find meaningful. I don't like find going to bars and drinking alcohol, even if it's with awesome people. It's not the environment for me. And when I went, I just felt like absolute garbage. And that's how I know, this isn't for me. This socializing in a bar environment, even with awesome people, is not for me. And sometimes with things I find meaningful, I wouldn't know unless I tried it, or tried an activity, or tried doing something I never done before I know whether it's not it's for me. The best advice I would give to my younger self, who was sort of scared of throwing himself out into different things and failing and experimenting, is that the best way to learn about who you are as a person and what you're into, as in what you enjoy doing, what gives you meaning, what gives you a sense of purpose, is to just throw yourself out there into as many different things as you can, um, and actually doing it, and I guess getting a clearer evidence of whether it's for you or not. Because for me, I can imagine some things, like I can imagine this would be for me, and I can imagine this would not be for me, but I would not know for sure, um, until I've actually done the thing or been through that experience, that I would have a clearer answer. Also, I don't mean like just ignoring all possible consequences and risk of certain things and just doing things without thinking it through to a degree. For example, if you know that something may seriously trigger you from past trauma, for example, or there's just too much risk to your health and well-being from throwing yourself into this activity or exploring this particular path, at this current point in your life. You could be healing from things, and take some time off before diving into this new thing or taking this new path that you don't know where it may lead. Like, it's okay to make assessments and be like, this is something I do want to do in the future, but right now, at this current point in time, it's not the best thing for me right now, because I'm still going through these things. I'm currently experiencing XYZ, and diving into it is gonna exacerbate what may be already be a bad situation. Something like that. Like, you don't have necessarily have to just dive into things right away. Like, I've had things that I keep at the back of my mind, be like, I want to do this in the future, but right now is not the best time for it, such as dating again, and meeting people, and hopefully meeting my future partner. Like, that's something I want to do in the future, but right at this current point in time, it is not going to help me heal. Oh, and I do know that a healthy romantic and sexual relationship where I grow with the person, it's like two people pairing up, being a team, working together, navigating life, growing together, learning from each other. I know that will bring me significant amounts of meaning. However, again, it's not the right time for me. And it's okay to know this information as well. Another thing I just thought of regarding meaning and purpose is, with things that I find very meaningful and add a lot of value to my life, is something I tend, something or some people I keep going back to. It's like with my current close friends, I keep coming back to them for a reason. I've kept them in my life for a reason. Um, because if it became toxic, or it was unhealthy, or I wasn't getting what I needed and want from it, I wouldn't be putting so much effort into it. Also, if I know that the other person doesn't care as much, I wouldn't put this much effort into it. Um, and things I keep coming back to are like boxing, creating custom gifts for friends, making these YouTube videos, um, creating positive differences in the LGBTQ plus and mental health spaces wherever I can, whenever there's an opportunity that suits, I would jump on it without hesitating. Um, things that and playing video games is another example. These are people and things I keep coming back to because it's like with the humans, they are safe ground for me to then be vulnerable, um, be loved, be cared for. It's safe ground for me, especially when I'm vulnerable, in a vulnerable state. They are safe, safe, non-judgmental humans who are very empathetic and sensitive that I can go back to. As for activities, they help me perform at my optimal level. As in, it helps my it basically keeps in check my operating system as a human being and on keeps me balanced, because if any of these domains are affected, of any one domain gets affected, everything else gets affected. So it's not only gives me long-term fulfillment, it helps me function as a human being. And things that help me function as a human being is very important, because if I don't have it, my mental health goes downhill, followed by my physical health, and then I start withdrawing from things, and then my big world just starts shrinking until I'm just with demons in my head, and that's not the point I want to get to. Um, yes, in summary, it's important to listen to your mind and body, like whatever you may be gravitating towards, explore it. Don't be afraid to explore it, because it's okay if it's not it if you it if it ends up not being for you, it's okay. At least you gave it a go, or you walked down that path before making the conclusion that this isn't for me. And it's okay if things may not be for you right at this current point in time, but it's something for you in the future. And explore what gives you long-term fulfillment, not just short-term highs um based on superficial things, and not really diving deeper to target, what are the deeper things that add value to my life and give me meaning and purpose. Yeah, that's all, folks. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and even if it's just one thing you took away from it, then I'm happy. um and I'll see you in the next video.